So, you ever sit down and think to yourself, I want to start a business, but I don't know if I should quit my job. I don't know if $1,000, $2,000, $10,000, $20,000 is enough to start a business. I don't know if I should start a software company. I don't know if I need to get investors. I don't know if I should open a Jamba Juice or a McDonald's or maybe a Build-A-Bear. I've been looking in a Build-A-Bear, but I don't know how much money that's going to take. What business should I start, and do I have enough money to start my business, and how do I pay for my business, and how long should I expect not to make money for my business, and should I just go and throw a pie at my boss? There's so many questions that make starting a business very difficult. Makes it a very confusing process for someone that doesn't understand the type of businesses you should start when you're starting off and the type of businesses you should grow into. I personally believe what I'm going to show you right here is the way that every single person should look at starting a business. Every single person. Except for Steve Jobs or Jeff Bezos. They can do their own thing. But every other person in them, including you, you should listen, because if you do this, this will allow you to start a business without ever taking any risk. It will allow you to hedge your bets, and it will allow you to transition from a business model that has very little risk and a ton of upside to a business model that has high risk but gargantuan upside. So I'm talking about, hey, a business model where you can start off and you can make $100,000 a month, and then transition to a business model where you could make millions and even hundreds of millions by the end of it. This is how it should work. This is how it's done. Listen up. So first off, 5 uploads in 5 days. You know what that makes this? The Cinco de upload. Okay, yeah, we're not going back to jokes in this channel. I'm not going back to Pikachu onesies. We've matured past that point. What I want to show you in this video, though, I think is so critically important because honestly, I just look at your comments. I look in the comments in the comment area, and people are saying, hey, is this enough money to start a business? And all the questions that I went through at the beginning of this, which I'm not going to recap because I'm going to bust this one out in truly 5 minutes. And if you don't have 5 minutes, by all means, go start a business without these principles. You will lose your butt. Almost everybody loses their butt. In fact, the reason why most businesses fail and most people go bankrupt and most people lose all their money is this right here I'm going to point out right here. And if you just structure how you start your businesses the right way, you have all the best of best world. You have the best of both worlds. You can start a business that has massive upside and very low risk and transition into like that passion business that you want that takes investment money, that has a huge $100 million, $1 billion potential, again, without losing your butt or ever putting any money down on red. So let me explain how this works. So I was watching Sam Ovens' latest video. It's about making decisions, and he touched on something that I've been doing for years, but I've never put into a diagram, and he's fantastic at putting things into diagrams. I know we all think he's an amazing entrepreneur, which is true, but I gotta say, I think his number one skill set is turning things into diagrams. He's amazing at it. Quite the diagrammer. Anyways, what Sam talked about in the video was many, many different things, but he laid out this one thing that I think needs to be specified a little bit more, because the biggest questions I see when people get into business, it all has to do with capital and risk. All has to do with capital and risk and in what type of business to start. And the thing is, with most businesses, most business models out there involve a lot of capital and risk. And that's the last thing you want to do when you don't know what you're doing. Okay, if I started a software company when I first got started, I would have lost everyone's money, including my money, and I'd be homeless right now, and I'd be one of those jaded people in the comments section who has nothing but time leaving weird comments about weird things, and I'll leave it at that. What Sam talked about in the video is called canceling out troughs. And so basically when you go and start a business, let's imagine this is profitability. This is the line of profitability. A lot of businesses work like this. You start your business off, and then you lose money, and then it swings back around, and then you get to making money. The thing is, with most businesses, this swing right here is around $100,000. Now, for people that have experience in digital marketing, they're going to scoff at this, say, you don't need $100,000 to start a business. I know. I've built an online business before. If you look at most people's understanding of business, though, if they're going and thinking about starting a McDonald's, they're going and thinking about starting a Jamba Juice. I really want to start a McDonald's. I don't know why, but you go and look at most people's understanding. This is what they think about business. You have to go in the hole quite a bit. And if you look at the most famous entrepreneurs out there, they do this to the 10th degree. For example, like Drew Houston at Dropbox, they go hundreds and millions of dollars into debt, or actually they're using investor money. But you hear every entrepreneur story out there. Ray Kroc at McDonald's, for example, going massively into debt, barely can pay his bills, just suffering the entire time. And so most people think about business and they go, this isn't for me. How do I start a business with this type of model right here? And then you also have people going out there thinking, man, how am I going to fund this business? I need to quit my job. When am I supposed to quit my job? And so most people think there's going to be this massive trough whenever you start a business. And that's not really how you want to do things. That's not how I did it. That's not how most entrepreneurs I know did it. That's not how even the billionaire entrepreneurs you know did it. A lot of them, almost always all of them, hedge their bets. Almost all of them hedge their bets. And you do this by building businesses that are the opposite of this. But the reason you need to understand this is because you're going to end up like the Lost Boys in Peter Pan. I see so many entrepreneurs doing this. They start their initial business and there's plenty of business models you can do this in. This is the type of business you should start. And I'm going to give you a list of them here in a little bit. But what you can do is you can start a business where there isn't a downside. It's just straight profit right away. But the problem is these businesses scale very poorly, or they don't work long term because the niches are super insanely competitive once you get to a certain point. They're oversaturated, or it's just not something you want to do for 40 years of your life. It's just not something that scales very well. And if you know these type of businesses right here, what you can do is you can start this type of business first off, and it can cover the cost of your down trough business. So a perfect example of this right now that I'm doing, you can see this live in action. I'm actually doing what I'm talking about on YouTube. Go figure, a guru on YouTube doing that. Anyways, what I do is you might notice I have info businesses. If you see any of my ads on YouTube, which I know you guys love, you got to stop the compliments. I know you guys love those ads, but you got to stop. You got to stop asking for more of them. I will only serve you 50 of them a day. Okay, that is the limit. That is it. That's all you get. Okay, all right. Beggars can't be choosers. So you might notice those ads. Those are my info business, and I don't actually teach in my info business. I found 2 coaches who are fantastic at Shopify, actually incredible at Shopify. HCAM has more results than any e-commerce program that I've seen. There might be one hiding out there that has more results. I haven't seen it. However, I found 2 people to put together an incredible program, incredible coaching that gets a lot of success. And so that business model right there, you got to think when you look at that business, all it took was a Kajabi website, which is pretty much free. It's like $49 a month or $199 a month starting. I don't know the price. It took me talking to 2 people, and then it took Camtasia, which is a filming software that's like $100. Then it took a Facebook group and some website hosting. And of course, ad money and whatnot. But if you look at the required hard costs to start that business before you can start making money, it's like $500. And that business has done millions and millions and millions of dollars. And so when you look at that business right there, that is just cash flow positive day one. There's 0 wait time. There's 0 6 months of doing anything prior to that. It's just like, hey, guys, let's make this course. Let's make it really good. You make the videos. I'll connect the ads. I'll make the sales pages. Let's get this info business going. And boom, we got a business right here that is super duper profitable. Now, you can also see, if you look on the flip side, Hyros. Hyros is not nearly as profitable. Our Market Hero, which is turned into Hyros, not nearly as profitable as HCOM. Because as soon as I make any money there, I go and invest it back in business. But when the business was first starting, man, it's just nothing but been in the hole. When I was first starting Market Hero, it's just money going out the door every single month. There was no way I'd be able to start that business when I first started off, because the hard costs alone would have killed me. They would have bankrupted me. I would have needed millions of dollars in investment money to start that business. And on top of that, even when I didn't have much experience when I first started Market Hero, so I built all this stuff, and it wasn't even profitable because like no one wanted to buy it because I didn't know how to design a SaaS product. I didn't know how to deal with churn. I didn't know how to deal with any of these things. So you want to kind of compound the trough. Not only did it take a lot of money to start that company, but it took a lot of money to learn how to be an effective CEO. I still don't think I know what I'm doing. However, what I know now compared to what I know when I started, holy moly. And so what I'm able to do throughout my career is I've been able to generate lots of cash flow with info businesses because it's a very easy entry, low barrier entry business model. But that's an entire another problem in itself, because if a business model is easy to enter, it is easy for people to come and mess with your stuff. It's easy for it to get oversaturated and competitive, and it makes it very, very hard for you to build a moat around your business, which means, let's say this is your castle and people want to invade your castle. They want to take your cookies. Okay, in an info business, like HCOM, for example, very hard to defend, because all it takes is a person with $500 and some good copywriting skills and a desire to make a great product, which is actually really fucking rare in info marketing, but a desire to make a great product that gets people results, and they can cross that moat pretty quickly. Now, if you look at Hyros, you're going to need a team of ex-Silicon Valley developers. You're going to need good COOs. You're going to need amazing product management. You're going to need years of development time. You're going to need millions of dollars and a really, really good understanding of, you're going to need a lot. You're going to need a lot to come with that. That moat is pretty long. You're not going to jump over that. You're not going to skip over that. You're going to have to go through hell on earth and in fire, and then the final boss of Devil May Cry to get to that castle. Okay, because Virgil's a fucking bitch. You ever seen that guy? Oh. All right, but you can see the difference right there. Because that business model has that, I can really scale that very quickly. And because of the infrastructure behind how a SaaS product works and churn, I could exit that company for potentially, okay, imaginary numbers, $1 billion. So you can see that SaaS company right there, while it has a very deep trough, that's like going and putting your money, this is a really bad analogy, but putting your money on like red 32 in Vegas. I don't even know if that's a bet on roulette. But the odds right there, if you win at that, you go to the moon. But you can see right here with an info product business right here, eventually what's going to happen is info product businesses, it's really hard to scale these to the moon. You can see examples like that with like Tai Lopez and like Tony Robbins and like some other info marketers. But you can see just how saturated those markets are. And on top of that, you see a lot of people in info marketing, they start with their initial business, and it's like a lost boy from Peter Pan. It's like, dude, you've been doing this for 2 to 3 years. Maybe it's time to, like go and try and build like a substantial, like really cool business, a software business, kind of like a Jeff Bezos type business. Maybe it's time to go and take that shot instead of constantly sticking at it. So I'm not hating on anyone doing info. Just my point of view, and the reason why I do this is because I want to take the big shots. I want to build the empire. I want to build the next Zoom. I want to build the next Slack. I want to build the next Intercom. I don't want to be the next info marketer superpreneur, okay? I don't want to be the next Frank Kern or Tai Lopez or any of those. I don't want to be the next Gary Vee. That's not what I want to do, okay? I want to build the next Intercom or Slack or something like that. And so that's what's really cool to me. And I see the real potentials of those business models. So backing up to all this, I want you to see my thought process so you can understand how to take this back to your business. So knowing that, I'm able to go and counter off my really deep trough with a cash flow trough. And so what happens is usually, and I don't think I'm not going to be killing HCOM anytime soon, but what you're going to see in a lot of entrepreneurs, and this is a model of actually my first business that I used to start actually Market Hero and HCOM, is you can see that you can go out there and you can counter out the trough without ever really risking anything. And then as soon as it's ready, you can kind of crisscross them. So last example before I start talking about you, with one of my first businesses, I had an SEO business. We sold services, we sold info products, anything SEO. SEO really wasn't my passion though, but that business had no barrier to entry. No barrier to entry. It took a blog and it took posting on the Warrior Forum to start getting clients for the SEO business. Absolutely no barrier to entry. And so what I was able to do is get that business to a substantial income, but there's no way I could ever keep that business going for 30 years. There's just no way. And that business had no potential of getting to 100 million, 200 million, 500 million. And so I was able to take that money and easily, without ever going in the red, without ever being stressed, without ever taking an investor, fund my software company, which the trend went more like this. Like, it actually went more like, yeah, and then that's how that went. But I was able to go out there without ever taking any risk, without ever taking any investor money. And so that's how you have to look at your business too. What you want to be looking at when you start your businesses or when you're quitting your job is you want to look at this trough model. So let's look at a more normal situation where you're not starting as an entrepreneur. So let's imagine you got your job right here. Okay, so this is the line of profitability. So line 1 right here, I'm not going to dot it, just use your head and follow along. But let's imagine this is your job. So this is great because there's no barrier to entry, and you can just get to, like, let's say your job pays you $4,000 to 6K a month. This is pretty stable. And this is just going to be in here right here. But the problem is this thing is never going to go like that. It's never going to do that. And it's never going to allow you to do all the things you want to do. So when I was starting my first business, the one I told you that was very cash flow positive, I was at first, I left the military, saved up money. And so I used that initial money from the military to build my first like upper trough. Then what I did is I moved to College Station, Texas, and started building that business. And I started doing SEO stuff and whatnot at that time, but I wasn't very successful at first. But I got to a good income, like 4 to 6K per month. And I was doing all sorts of various things, like I was also working at a bar and I got fired from that bar job. Don't ever hire me to be a bouncer at a bar because I'm just a skinny guy. I don't think I could ever get anyone to stop doing anything bad ever, but whatever. But I was doing all sorts of other things to generate side income while I was building my business. So even while I was making money for my business, I was still working and doing jobs. And that's, again, the trough model right here. And even when I was making 4 to 6K a month or even getting closer to 10K a month from my SEO business, I still went and got a job at a marketing agency. So I made a double trough, okay? So I had my marketing agency. I was an SEO manager there, so I was making money from that, and I was making money from my SEO business. And what you need to think about, let's take this back to maybe you got your job right here, but when you start your business, there's probably going to be a few months where you're not making any money, and you need that money to pay your rent and stuff like that, because, I mean, whoever saves up a few months' income and is financially responsible, that's hoggy posh. Why get cheap rent and live off like $500 a month when you can get a nice apartment and be successful? Anyways, you're probably going to need money during that time span. And so what you do is you counter off starting your first business, which should be a cash flow business, with your job. And so that cash flow business should actually have a pretty small trough, so you should be able to do it pretty quickly. So what I suggest doing is you don't cross the line of profitability. What you do with your job is you cross right here, okay? You cross right here, so you're going to kind of quit your job, and then boom, and your business kind of takes over and at least replaces your income. I didn't quit my marketing agency job till I was breaking $20,000 a month. So, like, that's the thing you got to understand about entrepreneurship. People are always putting it out there, like Elon Musk. He goes and puts $100 million down on red, which is Tesla and SpaceX, and you think every entrepreneur out there is taking out their life savings, selling their car, and jumping off a cliff. No, I literally did it as hedged as possible. Same thing with Bill Gates. Same thing with a lot of billion-dollar companies. Same thing with a lot of the Airbnb. Like the Airbnb guys hedged their bets to hell. They didn't really go all in on it until they like clearly had the business model working. It took them years to really get it going because they were hedging their bets so damn hard. So what you need to understand is this is what you kind of want to look at. And so what type of business model should you start when you're doing this? You should start either a consulting business, okay, very low barrier to entry. E-commerce business, Shopify, fantastic example. I would suggest you pick up HCOM. 1, because I would like your money. Let's just be transparent here. 2, because it gets fantastic results. And 3, because e-commerce has a really steep learning curve. It has a very steep learning curve, and that's why I would suggest picking up a course of some sort. I would suggest ours if you care about results, but whatever. Just pick any one of the dancing gurus on YouTube. They all have courses. Anywho, I would suggest doing that, or I would suggest doing infopreneurship, which is great. These all have no barrier to entry. There's a few other models out there like SEO and whatnot, but I would fall into these ones right here. If you're going to do consulting, I'm just going to give you recommendations right now for where to go get the understanding. I would not suggest going out there and trying to piece together everything. What I would do is I would join a program or an education program that has a community with it. That's the best thing, because you want to find a program that has substantial results and then has a community to trigger your competitiveness and also give you mentorship along the way. If you're doing consulting, Sam Ovens' course, bar none. Just don't even look at any other consulting. I mean, you can if you want. I know other good consulting courses. Sam Ovens' course just has a super long track record. And it's going to teach you how to think. If you're going to do e-commerce, I would look at HCOM, because most importantly, when you're starting off, I'm not going to tell you to buy my programs or HCOM. I'm going to tell you, though, what you want to look for is one requirement is you want to be taught how to think as an entrepreneur. That's the most important part to you getting success, is knowing how to think. You're not going to think that. You're going to think it's going to come down to some tactic. No, you got to know how to think and learn discipline and really change from the inside out. If you're looking for how to start an info marketing business, Russell Brunson's courses are phenomenal. Dan Henry has a really good course. It's about $5,000 though. And okay, so I just gave you a bunch of courses that are $2,000 to $5,000, making this trough deep as hell. Those are what you should look into. And if you're just getting started and you don't want to invest any money on courses, all these also have refund guarantees, by the way. So like, take a bet on yourself. Come on. And really to just touch on that real quick, it costs like $1 million open to McDonald's. It costs like, there's this business model called Buddha Juice out there. It's where you get just a damn juicer in a shack and you make people's juice. It's $80,000. College education, $50,000, $60,000. The fact that people are like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to invest in a $2,000 product with a lifetime guarantee. What bet are you going to take in your life? Like, when are you actually going to like bet on yourself? What are you waiting for on that? So that's my only point right there. But if you don't want to invest in courses and stuff like that, and you want to be a cheap bastard, which that pattern, by the way, in the Sam Ovens video, you're going to see that he talks about patterns. Being a cheap bastard who doesn't bet on himself and resist even low-risk investments, that pattern, for example, has a very low success rate. So, again, what I would do is I would very much look into one of these business models right here, because these are the best places to get started at. They have very low troughs, and you can start making money very quickly from them. There's no 6-month learning curve. Like, for example, at Market Hero, it took a year before we were even selling anything. Okay, that's not sustainable, and that's not something you want to do. So, now backing off from this, what you're going to be able to do with these business models once you get them down, and these are the ways that most people get started. And by entrepreneurship, I want to clear up, this doesn't mean make money online courses. You can make an info product out of just about anything, okay? I know a guy that does millions of dollars a month helping people learn how to get more clients as an accountant. It doesn't have to be make money online. So what you can do from this is now you got this first trough master, right? So that you were able to cover the time when you're building this, and so you just took off. All right, great. But what's going to happen is a consulting business doesn't scale because you can only have so many clients. An e-commerce business where you're drop shipping doesn't scale. It does scale, but it becomes very hard because drop shipping products have shorter lifespans. What does this mean? Okay, so if you want to make $10,000 a day, you can do that with drop shipping. You want to make $20,000, $50,000, there's people that do that. That being said, if you want to have a product that lasts for a really long time and something that lasts a long time, you want to start building that moat. You want to start building a moat type business. And so what we want to transition to at this point in time is moving towards moat type businesses. We want to go out there, and if this is our castle, the problem with consulting, the problem with info marketing, the problem with drop shipping is your moat is about as thick as this line that I'm drawing around it. In order for you to be really successful, someone want to buy your business, and for you not want to get burnt out, and for you to be able to scale really well, you need to have a moat that's gargantuan, okay? You need to have a moat that is absolutely huge. So this is the distance between anybody screwing with you. So, for example, nobody can screw with Jeff Bezos because the moat is like 30 years. It's ridiculous. No one can really screw with Sam Ovens' info product because the moat between the brand that he's built and everything is gargantuan. No one can really screw with Hyros because you're just going to have to punch yourself in the face for 3 years. And by all means, do that. Just go do that and have fun with that. That's what you want to have. If you look at SaaS companies, for example, they're very unprofitable at first, but the moat between them and competitors once they get going is huge. It's so hard to go out there unless you have really good funding and a really good team and a lot of experience and a giant moat to go and mess with a SaaS company that's well built. So you want to start looking at how can I build these businesses, because these businesses right here can scale because you can have a unique selling proposition. If you have a consulting business, you have a drop shipping business, you have an info business, your unique selling proposition isn't that great. You have to be just outrageously good at selling. For example, if you go and take HCOM and you compare it to any other Shopify courses out there, my moat between that is that I'm much better at running ads, I'm much better at copywriting, and I'm much better at putting a team together to build good products than other people. That's the moat. There's no moat from stopping anybody to making a apples to apples Shopify product to compete against me. There's a giant moat for someone to make something like Hyros though. So you want to start thinking about these businesses because once you have something unique, then you can really cling to that and scale it. And so what you want to do is you take these business models right here, and if you're doing e-commerce dropshipping, maybe it's time to start a supplement, okay? And everybody and their dog's doing that. So maybe it's time to start making your own product, maybe making your own coffee, maybe making one of the various things that's in making your own desk, making your own cars, your own red light therapy or hyperbaric chambers, pretty creative guy right here. Maybe that's what it's time to transition into. And that right there is going to have a huge upfront cost. If you're doing consulting, maybe it's time to make a SaaS product for your market since you understand it really well. Maybe it's time to start selling a consulting product that teaches the businesses how to do it. I know a guy, Chris Winters, he does millions a month doing that. Okay, that's what he does. He sells them directly to businesses. If you're doing info, maybe it's time to go like Russell Brunson and start a SaaS business. Okay, most of Russell Brunson was a millionaire before this, but his net worth didn't break hundreds of millions of dollars until ClickFunnels. And so this is what you want to think about. And if you already have a business model, you should really be thinking about this right now. If your business is working, what I see so many entrepreneurs doing, I did this, is you get stuck trying to play with this trough right here, and you keep trying to rev it up. It's like a car, its engine's not going to go, and you just keep trying to break this barrier, and it's not going to work. And so I really feel for people when I see them, like, what are you going to do? So make money online courses for the next 40 years of your life? Is that the plan? Are you gonna consult for businesses for the next 40 years of your life? Are you gonna sell drop shipping products from China for the next is this gonna be stable for the next 40 years of your life? Probably not. Are you gonna exit this? No, because no one's gonna buy those businesses. They're based around you. It's not that they're bad businesses, but they don't go past this point right here, and it's not something that is sustainable. It is something that takes a lot of energy to sustain, and you need something that can gradually, once it gets off the ground, it will take off. So it's about time to start thinking about, all right, what I'm going to do is, we already killed this job one right here. It's time to start another trough. And so while this one right here is stable, you're going to go really deep. But the thing is, this is covered. So let's imagine you make, let's say, $4 million from this business right here. Okay, I got this business, one of mine, to like $4 million a year. I mean, this is good coconuts. If you just want to stop there, by all means. But again, remember, it's not going to be stable. And if you want to go on vacation, guess what's going to happen? You want to make a new lifestyle? You want to live fancy pants McGee? Okay. Like, for example, I've had plenty of businesses where I'll do $4 or $6 million. You want to take the private jet pictures and stuff like that? I can afford that, but it takes money to sustain that. Okay. I only spend like 5% of my income. I'm not out there being irresponsible with it. But I'm saying, if I want to live at a income level where it takes me $30,000 a month to live, $20,000 a month to live, and I'm making, let's say, $200,000 to $500,000 a month, if I stop doing that $200,000 to $500,000 a month, that declines pretty quickly. You start seeing the ticking time bomb, 10 years in the future. You're going to have to start doing it again. It's not going to be like a 10, 20-year stable thing. That's what I'm trying to point out right there. Okay? So you need to understand this thing's not going to be sustainable the second you stop doing it. You're not going to have any choices, and you're going to be locked into it. And frankly, a lot of people that are entrepreneurs, you want to build that big, iconic business once you get to this point. You're not going to care so much about money. Like, I don't care. I got enough money. I got enough shit. Okay, I got enough shit. I don't need to buy any more shit. Okay, and so what my whole purpose is, and what gives me way more happiness than making money, is building that iconic business. That's what it's all about. That's the most fun you can ever have in entrepreneurship and life in general, in my opinion. So what am I going to do? I'm going to build that iconic business, but I'm also going to do it while covering my butt. Okay, I'm not going to go in and bet everything I've ever made in my entire life and comfort on the business. Now, I'm going to bet a lot on it, but if I'm going to put $2 million on red, I'm going to have $2 million excess cash. Okay? And so while you're going and building this business, you're going to go deep this time, and it's going to be hard and frustrating and a much longer fight. Because you're doing all sorts of things that are very intimidating. But when you come out of this, if you come out to this point right here, this is the point where you go to the fucking moon. This is the point where you go from being a person making $4 million a year to a person that's worth $300, $500, $1 billion. And what's going to happen is this entire time, you're not. Let me kind of reverse this a little bit, because what it's going to look like is you're going to get to this point right here, and then you're going to kind of stick around this point. So let's imagine this is like the 1 to 2 years where it's nothing but hard costs, and you kind of get to like break even, but every time you go up, you're going to go back to break even again, because you're going to just keep reinvesting in the business. And what this first business model allows you to do is, when you get to this point, you can still have money coming in versus getting investors. This is my investing strategy. Okay, I could easily go down to Silicon Valley and give away 30-40% of my company for a couple $1 million, or I can just make the millions of dollars myself and keep all my ownership and control of my company. I'd much rather do this than running around, going to meetings and convincing people that I have a good idea. I know I have a good idea. We'll see if I have a good idea. But that's my strategy right there. And so instead of going and getting investors, I cover those costs right there and also have enough money to live and also have enough money to hedge my bet. And so when I get to this point right here, I'm never taking a substantial risk. The trough is always covered. And how my trough actually looks is if this is, let's imagine this trough right here is 2 inches. My trough up here is 4 inches. So even if I completely lose, I'm still halfway in. You think, well, Alex, don't you want to go all in? Sure, but as a CEO, when you're starting one of these type of companies, it's much more important to be able to fund the people building the company, which is the engineers and whatnot. And so eventually what happens is you go to this point right here, and then it takes off. And at this point right here, we've done the same exact thing. Now, I'm not planning on killing HCOM or anything like that. I'm not saying that, but you can see how this entire diagram right here works. It's way better than Sam Ovens' diagram. I take back his diagramming skill set. You can see how this right here allows me to, first off, go from working a job to having a successful business without ever taking a risk. And you can see how it allows me to take some really ballsy shots. So for example, Market Hero, it's made money. It's very profitable right now. That being said, the first few years didn't work too well because I'm taking shots in the email marketing niche, which is really expensive to get into and has competitors like MailChimp. I'm not going and competing against some YouTuber. I'm going and competing against fucking MailChimp. Okay? Like the owner of that is a billionaire. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go take shots at this billionaire. But this allows me to do crazy shit like that without ever taking a risk. That allows me to build a company. It didn't really work at first and lost a lot of money at first without any change in my life, and also being able to focus on the business because I have the money to fund it. So I just wanted to point this out and really dig down a little bit more on what Sam talked about, because I think it's super important. And that's why I made the video. So hopefully you enjoyed this. And what I want you guys to do as well, go below, like this video, and leave feedback. What do you guys want me to talk about in these videos? Because what you guys leave in the comment section heavily influences what I make videos about. And so I think you understand how comments and feedback works, so go do it.